Hello, Fearless fam. Welcome to another episode where we shed light on topics most like to keep in the dark. This is your host, Chubby, and today's elephant is a level 5 elephant. Let me tell you, I know April has been crazy busy with all the awareness topics going on, but they all are equally important. So we needed to address all of them. And if you're on this one, thank you so much for joining this episode. April is Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month. Please take care of yourselves when hearing or watching this episode. Take the pauses when you need to. I just want to say thank you all for watching and listening, for all the shares and comments. Thank you for also discussing the topics with me privately and letting me know how they make you feel. It truly means a lot that you all take your time to share that with me. Time is valuable. So what is Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month? National Child Abuse Prevention Month recognizes the importance of families and communities working together to prevent child abuse and neglect. Prevention services and supports developed by this collaboration can help to protect children and strengthen families. April has been designated Child Abuse Prevention Month in the United States since 1983. Fearless fam, please don't forget to take care of your mental health. I know this topic can be a tough one. Definition of abuse refers to harmful or injurious treatment of another human being, and that may include physical, sexual, verbal, psychological, emotional, intellectual, or spiritual maltreatment. I do want to get right into this episode because there's a lot of information. So today with 411 with Chubby, I want to share facts about child abuse. Information by childprotect.org. Approximately 5 children die every day because of child abuse. 1 out of 3 girls and 1 out of 5 boys will be sexually abused before they reach age 18. 90% of child abuse victims know the perpetrator in some way. 68% are abused by a family member. Most children become victims of abuse and neglect at 18 months or younger. In 2010, 1,537 children died of abuse or neglect. 79.4% were under the age of 4, and 47.7% were under the age of 1. Boys 48.5% and girls 51.2% become victims at nearly the same rate. 3.6 million cases of child abuse are reported every day in the U.S. Abused and neglected children are 11 times more likely to engage in criminal behavior as an adult. About 80% of 21-year-olds were abused as children met criteria of at least one psychological disorder. 14% of all men and 36% of all women in prison were abused as children. Abused children are less likely to practice safe sex, putting them at greater risk of STDs. They are also 25% more likely to experience teen pregnancy. For every incident of child abuse or neglect that's reported, an estimated 2 incidents go unreported. Child abuse occurs across all socioeconomic levels, ethnic and cultural lines, and religions and education levels. Neglect, the most widespread form of child abuse, makes up more than 59% of abuse cases. I compiled a list of things you can do to prevent child abuse. Please know I am not an expert, I am not a doctor or a therapist. I have done my research with respectable organizations that are more equipped in these types of subjects. Information by the Washington State Department of Children, Youth, and Families. If you would like to take a break before we continue this, please do so. If not, please proceed with the episode. Here are several things you can do to prevent child abuse. You can volunteer your time, get involved with other parents in your community if you yourself are a parent, help vulnerable children and their families, start a play group. For this one is discipline your child thoughtfully, and that could be how you want that to be perceived. However you think that will work. According to the Washington State Department of Children, you can use privilege to encourage good behavior and time out to help your child regain control. Again, how you take care of your child in that aspect and how you want to discipline them will be up to you. Examine your behavior. Abuse is not just physical. Both words and actions can inflict deep, lasting wounds. Try to be a nurturing parent. Use your actions to show children and other adults that conflicts can be settled without hitting or yelling. Educate yourself and others. Simple support for children and parents can be best way to prevent child abuse. After school activities, parent education classes, mentoring programs, and respite care are some of the many ways to keep children safe from harm. Be a voice in support of these efforts in your community. Teach children their rights. When children are taught they are special and have the right to be safe, they're less likely to think abuse is their fault and more likely to report an offender. Support prevention programs. Too often, intervention occurs only after abuse is reported. Greater investments are needed in programs that have been proven to stop the abuse before it occurs, such as family counseling and home visits by nurses who provide assistance for newborns and their parents. Know what child abuse is. Physical and sexual abuse clearly constitute maltreatment, but so does neglect or the failure of parents or other caregivers to provide a child with needed food, clothing, and care. Children can also be emotionally abused when they are rejected, berated, or continuously isolated. Know the signs. Unexplained injuries aren't the only signs of abuse. Depression, fear of certain adults, difficulty trusting others or making friends. Sudden changes in eating or sleeping patterns, inappropriate sexual behavior, poor hygiene, secrecy, hostility are often signs of family problems and may indicate a child in being neglected or physically, sexually, emotionally abused. The most important one, personally, to me is report abuse. If you witness a child being harmed or see evidence of abuse, make a report to your state's Child Protective Services Department or local police. When talking to a child about abuse, listen carefully. Assure the child that they did the right thing by telling an adult and affirm that they are not responsible for what happened. And invest in kids. Encourage leaders in the community to be supportive of children and families. Ask employers to provide family-friendly work environments. Ask your local and national lawmakers to support legislation to better protect our children and to improve their lives. I know I usually share a lot of information for topics like this, so remember to pause if you haven't already. Fearless fam, abuse is such, again, it comes in multiple ways. The one that I experienced the most was verbal abuse. Growing up, verbal abuse was the thing, and obviously having to break generational traumas and patterns. So having to not be like our parents when it came to realizing that I was also repeating the same patterns of verbally abusing an animal, a person, just by talking. It takes a lot when you realize that, when you hone into that and you're like, okay, I need to stop this. obviously you need to heal from that. So having to deal with this type of abuse growing up, um, obviously could leave you as it's a tough thing to first of all to say, to admit, and to want help for, to find ways to not be verbally abusive. And it's a recovery, is not linear, and is still going on, trying to heal from that, no matter how long you've realized it, and no matter how long you're like, okay, this is when this started. So it's been tough. But remember, everything shared usually changes over time. So new information comes up, and we're always changing and gaining more knowledge to help the world around us. My final thought, fearless fam, is that I know it can be overwhelming, and you can feel hopeless and possibly helpless, wondering how you yourself can help. But you are able to do some things, like I've mentioned previously. You just need to find what you're comfortable with doing and what you think is possible to do, and just go with that. Go with what you are most comfortable with. So if only sharing, like reposting on social media about other organizations that are doing the work, helps you feel like you're contributing in any way, go for it, because that's a great step too. That helps. Anything helps. All the help counts. We can change the way we can change the way society views this topic. The more knowledge we have, the better the future will be. And this is also a topic that I believe should be taught in schools. But that's another topic for another day. This is why we need counselors, trust counselors, because children can go. Even when teachers are there for what the purpose that they're for, and children come to them and confining them about something like that, again, like I said before, I feel like it is their duty to report it, and I hope that they do what they need to do. Fearless fam, please take care of yourselves. Please read, fact check, do your research, have conversations, have the difficult ones, have the fun ones, but talk to one another. Be there for each other, especially when times seem to be just getting worse around the world. It's just a non-stop, ongoing cycle of something. It's like we're not learning our lesson, right? I do hope you stay for our next episode. I am very excited about it. We will be doing an April Poetry Month episode, and I can't wait for you all to meet our guests. Thank you so much for staying this far into the episode. I hope any of this information was helpful or open your eyes to something, and you want to do your own research and go find an organization that you can donate to, that you could volunteer your time to. And with that being said, like I always say, stay fearless, everyone.